As I have seen people struggle, it usually comes down to these three principles. The first principle.
Ruslan.
Before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan, and this channel exists to encourage you to mastermind your business the master's way. All right, now let's get into the video.
What are the three most important biblical concepts that apply to business?
The three most important biblical concepts that apply to business.
That you've worked in your business that you felt like have really moved the needle, that you think other Christian entrepreneurs should implement, even if the world maybe says don't do these things, or maybe the world does say do these things.
The interesting thing to me is that I plugged into a local church, and after being involved in a local church, I came to faith as a 17-year-old, life a mess, and I thankfully had other mentors around me, older mentors around me. There was like a men's small group. And so the beautiful part for me is that I've always been able to see these exhibited in the flesh. And then I've also unfortunately seen Christians that didn't do so well. People I love to death, but that would have some moral breakdown. Stuff like kids outside of marriage, divorce, like those sorts of things. I've seen those people not apply these principles in their life. So it's interesting that the very same principles that you should be taught as a follower of Jesus are actually the same principles that transfer over to being a good entrepreneur, in my opinion. As I have seen people struggle, it usually comes down to these three principles. The first principle is when Jesus said, "Let your yes be yes, let your no be no."
Okay.
Your word is your bond. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. What's the point of saying you're going to do something to flake out, right? So I would say top is you got your word is your binding agreement.
How do you see that play out poorly for people in business?
Well, you see it play out poorly by saying you're going to deliver on a product and then not delivering on a product. Saying that something is going to do X, Y, and Z and it doesn't do X, Y, and Z. And so if you deliver poorly on a product because you don't keep your word because you're a liar, right? Or because you're sloppy, because you're late, right? That's like a huge section of it. If you are a brick or mortar or an online business and you're saying, hey, we sell these premium prayer journals, right? And these are the custom fonts I've been using for 20 years. And then somebody gets it and it's just a white label journal that's blank.
Yeah.
And there's nothing unique about it. You just lied, and you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get in trouble. And I think now with the internet, you're gonna get sniffed out really quick. So I'd say let your yes be yes, let your no be no. As a person, as a business owner, as a husband, as a friend, if you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you say you're gonna be somewhere, be there early. So I would say that's probably the biggest one. And a lot of people struggle with that one.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with that one. I would say the second one would probably be servant leadership, right? Jesus redirected the disciples when they were arguing, hey, who's going to be the greatest in the kingdom? The constant argument, right? Who's going to be greatest in the kingdom? And Jesus repeatedly redirects them to servanthood. Whoever's going to be the greatest is going to serve. And so if you think about the Christian is a servant. You are here to serve. Jesus is a servant. Jesus washed the disciples' feet, right? As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, you're here to serve. So it's a natural overflow if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? So you're actually here to serve people. If you are not serving people, your product isn't connecting because you're not probably putting your people first. You're just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
You think that you're the center of the universe and everyone here is to serve you. Right? And there are people that get away with that. There are people that scam people. There are people that build businesses on speculation.
Yeah.
Right?
You could do this.
You could do this, yeah. So I would say the first one is let your yes be yes, let your no be no. The second one is servant leadership. You're here to serve, lead by example, right? Those sorts of principles. But really think about other people. And I would say the third, that's a hard one. But I think the third one is the belief expressed that you are just a manager of God's grace. So as a follower of Jesus, you are a conduit of God's grace on this earth.
Got it.
You're a messenger.
Yeah.
God is working through us, right? It's the same thing in business. The business is not yours. Your family's not yours. Your body's not yours. This is all, your life is given to you by the creator of the universe, and you are here to manage it. And that then creates a shift in terms of it's not about me and my thing, but in order to honor God, I actually have to manage this thing well.
Yeah.
Right? With your time, your talent, your treasure, your abilities, your dreams, your visions, your friends, your family. stewardship, I think, is a huge process. And I feel like once people unlock that, then they start applying it to everything. They start applying it to how they're eating. They start applying it to how they're spending their money. They start applying it to how they're spending their time. They start applying
Crosses over to all other areas of your life.
Crosses over to everything. And again, and I would say that kind of goes along with that, like that desire to do something great is really should be redirected to serve people. Right. And so that desire to build wealth or build something should be redirected to, let me just do the best with what I have. And when you're a steward, then you understand that I'm in charge of the inputs, God's in charge of the outputs, right? I'm going to do my part, but I may not have the resources I want to have, and the garden, the harvest may not grow as big as I wanted to, but I'm in charge of the inputs. Let me be faithful to do my part and let God do his part.
It's like that saying, what is it? Pray like it all depends on God, work like it all depends on you.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, stewardship, because even Dave Ramsey highlights that with his own company, that he's like, I am just stewarding this massive company, and it's God's company. It's God's people. It's God's everything. He's like, so he even talks about when he's passing the company down to his kids, he said, all the kids know that if they're not walking with the Lord, they're not on the will. They're not taking over Ramsey Solutions. He's like, because this is God's company, this is God's ministry, and if you're not walking with the Lord, you can't even lead a company like this. So it's the same sort of thing. He just views it as like, oh, this is all God's first and foremost, which is super interesting.
I think when you see a Ramsey, and you're like, whoa, like that dude grew it to however 100, 300
million,
right? Maybe it's so beyond what he ever dreamed or imagined, right? But maybe that's harder when you're just like starting out in life and you're like, my Chick-fil-A job isn't mine, it's God's. Let me honor it as if it's God. That could be harder when you're just starting out.
Because you feel like you're working for the man,
Yes.
You're putting in sweat equity, you're like, look at my hard work.
But when you start something and then a couple decades later, it's $300 million company and you have 1,000 employees, it probably really feels like, holy smokes, what the heck did I just do? I didn't think I would do this, you know?
Wow, that's a good point.
Ronnie added, here's a bonus one, living below your means, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, living below your means is a good one. And that's one that, man, that lifestyle creep will always get you. That's not something that you like entrepreneurially, personally, whatever, like you got to be so on guard for lifestyle creep, because that will get you, and it's not good. It's not good. Is the air on?
That's why I can't have more babies. Babies cost money. Like me and Melissa are like, we're at a good spot where we live frugally, but we're not suffering. And then like the cars are paid off. We're like, we can be a 1-car family or drive a car with 225,000, 50,000 miles. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And so there is like that level of like, I'm very conscious about even right now where it's like living in Southern California is not cheap. So sometimes I look at the math and I'm like, bruh, it does not feel like this is the income in Southern California. But I'm also like, as that top line increases, don't increase. If I can maintain this, eat chicken, eat some ground beef, eat some cheap red meat. You know what I'm saying? We got 1 car. We're at a place where our rent won't raise for a long time. So I'm thinking even personally outside of business, it's like that idea of like lifestyle creep of being like, all right, I know we're at a spot now where we can maintain. We can be here for a decade or two, hopefully.
Hey, thank you so much for watching that video. Guys, I believe that one of the best ways you can build a business is by first building a platform online. So Zach Sparazzo put together a free training for you on the #1 metric you can be looking for to explode your YouTube platform. Click the link in the pinned comment below so you can start that now. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.